Our world is aging rapidly. Never before have so many people lived for so long. Living longer is a great achievement, but in some countries today, longevity can be a double-edged sword, often bringing new burdens and worries about making ends meet. In Armenia, the proportion of people over the age of 65 has doubled since the 1980s. The disintegration of the Soviet Union has led to the collapse in the social security older people enjoyed in the Soviet era. Many elderly people are living in poverty. 81-year-old Antonina Haratyunyan lives alone in Gyumri. Following her husband's death, she's struggling with ill health and little money. After the 1988 earthquake destroyed the city, she moved with her husband into a temporary shelter with no heating or running water. 23 years later, she's still living there, waiting to be rehoused.
This place was so cold because of the holes. Over there you could fit 4 fingers into the opening. We were simply freezing in the winter time. We would cover ourselves with 2-3 blankets, put on our caps and overcoats at night, but all the same couldn't sleep.
The earthquake struck just as the Soviet system was disintegrating in Armenia, leaving the city of Gyumri on its knees. More than 80% of its buildings were destroyed, and 25,000 people were killed. Flora Sargsyan works in the city with the international NGO Caritas. Working with older people who are struggling to cope, the charity provides primary health care and help with shopping and household chores, filling the gap in service provision that was once done by the state.
The people are deprived of everything in the world. The only water tap is here. Summer or winter, they fetch water from here. In winter, it is scaring here. All is icy. The water is running all the time in order not to be frozen in the tube. So this is the way they live. They do laundry here. They wash themselves here. Everything is done here for the whole population of this building.
In Armenia, provision for older people is often informal and based on the family. But not everyone has a family to fall back on. Many of the working-age population have left the country to find work. 2/3 of Armenians live abroad, leaving thousands of elderly alone and vulnerable. And many older people are reluctant to move into one of the country's few care homes.
No, I'll never live in a home for the elderly. I don't want to. If my situation becomes too bad, my daughter will take me. They won't leave me, won't tell me to go and live in an elderly home.
Despite the many difficulties they face, the government of Armenia is keen to point out the contribution that older people make to society, supporting their families and contributing to preserving the cultural heritage of the country. It's a contribution that's often undervalued, adding to many older people's sense of being forgotten. With the help of the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, a roadmap has been developed to identify concrete steps to adjust the society to the new demographic realities. Viviane Broom works with the UNECE's population unit.
When we work with the government, for example, we try to make it a participatory approach. We invite employers, civil society, trade unions, academia, media, and everybody should bring in the things, their resources, their thoughts, their knowledge of where the problems are, but also the knowledge of where the solutions could be. And then the challenge is really to make this into one integrated approach.
Making the necessary changes doesn't have to be costly. Many of the measures suggested in the UNECE roadmap aim at supporting existing initiatives. Daycare centres and social activities have been set up to get older people involved in their communities, helping to bring an end to their isolation.
There are many elements that can inspire countries in the region which are facing very similar problems. And one of the strong impressions in Armenia really is that there's a strong governmental commitment to work on this and to take this forward and to really find good solutions, sustainable solutions to address this issue in the country.
Making these changes now will help avoid costly consequences later. Policymakers need to recognise that not only are older people vulnerable, they're also a valuable asset.